Welcome into another edition of New Track Record Podcast. Caleb Hatch with you. Justin Kinney will be joining us a bit later on, but we are joined by a special guest and a return special guest, Michael Good, the president of PRI. Thanks so much for coming back on with us.
Hey there, Caleb. Thanks for having me, man. Excited to have a discussion today.
First things first, you're kind of in the final stretch for the PRI Show coming up December 11th through 13th in Indianapolis at Lucas Oil Stadium. What is the excitement level? What is the preparation leading up here in the final stretch?
Yes, 3 weeks from today, actually at 9 a.m. So it's 3 weeks from today. This will be going. Doors will open, and it's going to be a great show. A lot of excitement about it. All of the metrics are showing that it's going to be one of the largest shows we've ever had in Indianapolis. And there's just a really good buzz about it. And I think it speaks to the state of the thriving motorsports industry right now. There's a ton going on across the full ecosystem of motorsports, whether you're talking about sanctions or tracks, or obviously the manufacturers. So there's a good buzz about it, and we're super excited. We have a big kickoff right at the very start of it with our Hall of Fame induction ceremony at the grand opening breakfast, and that'll be followed with Mario Andretti. So, one of the icons of motorsports will be speaking as the keynote at the grand opening breakfast. So lots to talk about, lots going on.
Registration, I know at home stretch, people still have time to sign up to attend?
They do. You can sign up all the way up to the day of the show and pick up a credential on site.
And with exhibitors, any new exhibitors this year that you're excited about to be able to host?
There are. I'm not going to necessarily start rattling them off by name, but we have over 180 first-time exhibitors at the PRI Show this year, so that's spectacular. And it really speaks a lot about the industry, that there's so much innovation and new tech and new folks coming into the motorsports industry. To have 180 first-time exhibitors at a show that's almost 40 years old is spectacular.
So if you have 180 new exhibitors, how many are you expecting total for the show this year?
The number right now is right around 1,100.
Wow. That's amazing. So if you're someone who's coming to PRI and you're first-time attendee, what's kind of the expectation? What kind of paint the picture what people can expect?
I'll do it as if we were walking into the show. If you think about the way the show is laid out, it's all of the Indianapolis Convention Center and then all of Lucas Oil Stadium. And I guess I'll use direction for the easiest way to put it. If you entered the show from the north, right, like let's say by the Westin Hotel, and you walked into the convention center, you're going to come down the escalator there, and you're going to walk into what's called Hammertown. It's a brand new activation and exhibit at the show that is really highlighting the off-road industry, the king of the hammers and trophy trucks and side-by-sides and the full fun in the dirt, if you will. And that's going to be a brand new element to the show. And as you continue on through the show, you'll obviously walk through the green hall and the yellow hall where a lot of the exhibitors are placed. And then through the main hallway, you'll see the NHRA booth and various different, we have the TOPS, which is track operators, promoters, and sanctions area. And then as you continue through the walk, if you will, from down that escalator, and you're walking through the convention center, after you enter that part where the NHRA and the primary hub and the, I'll call it the merchandise store, then you get to what's called the PRI paddock, which is also a brand new element to the show, where we're going to have 5 different vehicles that flank a stage that will be conducting a variety of interviews with known names in the racing industry, from drivers to presidents of sanctioning bodies to influencers like Adam LZ. Ken Stout, who's a renowned announcer in motorsports, is going to be the MC of the PRI paddock for the 3 days of the show. We're really excited to partner with him. And then as you continue on down, walking south through the show, you leave the PRI paddock, you would walk through what's called the FPS, the Featured Products Showcase, where you would be seeing all of the new innovations from various different manufacturers that will be really coming to life in the 2026 racing season. So it's kind of a glimpse into what the future of racing looks like, because you're seeing all of these brand new products. As you continue that walk south, you then enter a really cool corridor that takes you down to Lucas Oil Stadium, where you have a massive trailer exhibit, which to a lot of people, they're like, oh, trailers, what's that all about? And it's actually amazing. If you think about it, every race car needs to get to the track, and they got to get there somehow, and it's usually on a trailer. And so you're going to see everything from massive motorhomes to, one-car trailers, very state-of-the-art, innovative trailers that drop all the way to the ground so the car can drive right up with no ramps on hydraulics. Various different customizations. So really excited about the trailer exhibit. Also in Lucas Oil Stadium is the Sim Expo. So something that is near and dear to the folks here. Last year we had roughly 42,000 square foot of sim racing, and this year it'll be very similar to that. We have SRO there that'll be conducting a celebrity race on Saturday morning. You'll be able to see state-of-the-art sims from various different manufacturers and drive different types of full hydraulic sims to stationary sims, and really get a taste of what's going on in that arena, which is obviously driving innovation and raising the bar every month, it seems, with new technologies coming in and embracing the sim arena, the sim world, if you will. Also, and then I'll pause in just a second, in Lucas Oil Stadium on Thursday night, we have a brand new event called the Full Throttle Social. And this is kind of a after hours, let your hair down, let's have a good time, let's bring everyone together in one big element for some spirits and some snacks and some good times. And so we're really excited about the Full Throttle Social. And there's a ton going on. And we also have an educational track that goes on Friday morning for the kind of that next gen initiative, where we're going to be having some leaders of companies talk to students and future employees of the industry of, what's going on in the industry, how to get into the industry, what they're hiring for, what type of traits they look for. And so very excited. I'll pause there and let you react to all that. But it's kind of sensory overload. We're super excited about this year.
Absolutely. You touched on, what's new, because last year you had the sim racing. This year you had several new items. Kind of moving forward, the impact of the show. You don't have to name like a company name or individual name, but if you can think of like one or two kind of testimonial type stories of how the show specifically impacted a person, a motorsports organization, a race team, et cetera, to set them up for success.
I have always said that the North Star for the PRI show is that we have to make sure that the exhibitors that are spending their time, money, and resources to come to Indianapolis in December and bring their teammates and set up their business, we have to help them grow their businesses. And if we miss that mark, that's the start of the decline for us. That's the start of irrelevancy for us. And it's a big deal that we want to make sure that the exhibitors that are coming to the show are growing their businesses and able to thrive. And, that's why we focus on, this is a closed show. You got to be in the industry to get into the show. And we want to bring buyers into the building so that they can see all that these manufacturers, whether it's turbos, whether it's sim racing, whether it's suspension parts, name the product, or whether it's Machinery Row, which is showing some of the latest and greatest technological innovations for machining products. At the end of the day, we want to help these businesses grow and thrive.
I know every year we usually get some exciting announcements. I'm sure we can expect a few special announcements for news in the motorsport industry coming out of PRI. Why is that such a good place for organizations and teams and manufacturers to not only showcase their product, but announce new innovations and partnerships as well?
Sure. Really good question. We have a flurry of announcements that'll be taking place for a variety of different brands and sanctions and tracks at the show this year, as we do every year. And I really think the number one reason is there's really no other place in the world where you have the full, I call it the ecosystem, the full ecosystem of motorsports together under one roof. And you have a captive audience. You're bringing all aspects of motorsports together. For a lot of folks, it's the only time they get to connect with each other. Maybe they worked together 20 years previous, and they developed a friendship, but now their lives have gone different paths, and they get to reconnect and come back together. So there's the networking, there's the relational side of it, but there's also, from the press release standpoint, there's really no better place to tell the world that you have a new product coming out, or you're making a new announcement to your team or to your sponsorship program, because it's a vast, it's a global audience. Last year we had over 40 countries at the show. This year it'll be around the same, if not higher. And you're getting access to a global audience at one point in time, all together in the same geographic space. And I think that is something that is very difficult to replicate, and it really doesn't exist anywhere else in the world.
And something that Indianapolis does and does quite well is hosting conventions. And obviously yours is one of many big conventions that come through the city each and every year and provide an economic impact. It's not just obviously helping the motorsports industry, it's helping the restaurant industry, the hotel industry, et cetera, during those 3 days.
That is correct. Indianapolis is one of the best cities in the United States for hosting conventions for various different trade organizations and various different entities. If you look at how the infrastructure of the city is laid out, there's a ton of what I call connectivity, where you can walk through crosswalks and bridges and tunnels to really get around the infrastructure of downtown Indianapolis in a very friendly, user-friendly manner, or travel-friendly manner, if you will. And Visit Indy and the Capital Improvement Board, the folks that run Lucas Oil Stadium and the Convention Center and Gainbridge have just done a phenomenal job of setting up a infrastructure where it's very travel friendly for guests. For the PRI Show specifically, it's a big deal. We bring in over $70 million of economic impact to the city of Indianapolis in a week, and it's some of the best weeks of the year for the hotels and for the restaurants is the PRI Show. Many of the restaurants are booked out. A St. Elmo's reservation the week of the PRI shows it's impossible to get, and you've got to book it a year in advance. So it really is a testament to the city coming together and really supporting and embracing an event such as ours. And we couldn't be more pleased with that. It's been a tremendous partnership, and we've been back here since 2013. Since then, we've obviously built our headquarters for PRI here right in Speedway, and we're heavily planted in the Indianapolis market. We are in the racing capital of the world, the state of Indiana, and we couldn't be more proud of that, to be able to say that and to say that we have a presence in that. And the city of Indianapolis has just been spectacular to work with on all fronts.
Might have the NFL Combine beat out having St. Elmo booked a year in advance. That's pretty cool. Before we let you go, exciting thing piggybacking off of the PRI show is the PRI Hoosier 500. You guys are a partner. We're a partner for this event. Sunday, December 14th, 11 a.m., a record 120 entries for the race. You mentioned your sim race expansion last year for the show, and obviously this is another partnership and in a way for you guys to not only get the word out about you, but also help spread sim racing, which has become a key element in the motorsports community.
We couldn't be more excited about the Hoosier 500 and the partnership there with Ryan and Tanner, and those guys have just been great to work with. If you think about it, it's the greatest spectacle in racing, the Indianapolis 500, and for them to have the foresight to recreate that in a sim virtual environment and bring together the month of May over a time period in December for people around the globe to be able to compete in the same exact race at the same time is just something I think it's insanely cool. We're super excited about it. We're 100% supportive of the sim technology and that whole movement. We think it's carrying a big weight in helping us attract the next generation into the motorsports industry, both from a technology perspective, obviously from a driver perspective, but the technology that's behind those sims, there are engineering students that are developing that. And, I look at what the Hoosier 500 is doing. It's a catalyst for helping grow the industry of motorsports. It's not just a video race that happens over a couple days in December. So I see it more as a movement.
Thanks again to Michael Good of PRI for joining us to talk about the upcoming PRI show. Really appreciate him coming back on the program. And speaking of coming on the program, we welcome in Justin Kinney. Hello, Justin.
Hello, Caleb. Yes, remote location at my home. Just brought the two terrors home from school, and now hopefully we'll have some quiet time so we can talk about some IndyCar.
Yes, and, relatively quiet week until late in the week, and the first bit of news is that Mick Schumacher has departed Alpine in their WEC program, basically raising eyebrows at Mick Schumacher at IndyCar. Is it going to happen? And then Marshall Pruitt adding fuel to the fire. He posted an update on Racer.com as we record this episode on Friday, November 21st, saying that it would be more of a surprise if he doesn't join Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing. So obviously, big news. I would think that will be confirmed before the end of the year based on how these announcements go.
It seems like it's trending that way, right? I mean, the big thing was Alpine and how that looked and what the relationship was there with Mick Schumacher. And now that it is has been absolved, it seems like full speed ahead. So maybe it's just wait until after Thanksgiving, get into early December, and then announce this thing kind of thing. So, I read an interesting story today that was quoting Gerhard Berger, who is a former F1 driver. And I want to say was a really good friend to Mick's father.
Yes,
Michael.
I believe they worked together at Ferrari. Or not Ferrari, sorry. It would have been Benetton, I believe. Weren't they teammates at Benetton?
Yeah, Benetton, and then, Berger was at Ferrari as well. I just don't know if they were both at Ferrari at the same time. Not sure. I'm not too keen on my F1 history, but basically a story about him says the switch to IndyCar would be, quote, a good solution for Mick Schumacher, and also said, quote, I think IndyCar isn't as dangerous as it was in my day. There have been some improvements, including to the cockpit, so I believe it's a good solution for Mick. For me, Formula One is the pinnacle of motorsport, no question. The IndyCar series has to come in second. Before Formula One became popular in America, IndyCar was always number one there. It was always the benchmark in my day, end quote. So former Ferrari driver, McLaren driver, as you mentioned, was in the Benetton seat as well. And knowing his friend Michael Schumacher, sounds all indications pointing that Mick Schumacher will be on the grid next year, full time in IndyCar. Who would have thought?
Right. I mean, we had the test. We thought, that's a good story, but we'll see if it actually leads anywhere. But man, what an off season for Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing. They get a sponsor extension for Foster. They extend Louis Foster. They test Mick Schumacher. They had some key behind-the-scenes people, including Brian Barnhart and several others from McLaren. And then now we got news this week also that Gavin Ward is coming over in a role yet to be defined. But Jay Fry doing work in the offseason, which, again, when we talked about this partnership and Jay Fry coming to Rahal after he was out at IndyCar, it wasn't going to be during the season. We'd really see a lot of the fruits of this partnership be revealed, but this offseason, and we're seeing it play out, especially if Mick Schumacher does indeed move to IndyCar for 2026.
Yeah, and I told you tongue-in-cheek, and I don't mean to I'll point out the obvious. I mean, the only place that Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing is lacking right now is in its driver lineup. And it needs a better alpha driver, in all honesty. And that's all due respect to Graham Rahal, but all you need to do is look at the results or lack thereof to back that point up. And so I've been saying it for I don't know how long, until RLL can get over this focus on Graham Rahal, and his name is in the title, so it's going to be difficult to do that. I know he's heavily involved business side as well. But you hope Louis Foster can take a next step. You hope Mick Schumacher can hit the ground running, but you still don't have an alpha driver at that team. They're building an alpha team without having an alpha driver.
And you have two young talents. I mean, Graham is experienced, so the problem is he's not been competitive at Indianapolis really since, 21, when they all but had the race seemingly wrapped up, and then that wheel came off after the pit stop.
Yeah,
and it's been
not his fault.
Been nothing short of a disaster ever since then.
I mean, 4 straight years of 11th or worse in the championship, and it's been steadying worse and worse, 11th to 15th to 18th to 19th. I mean, it's not going in the right direction for Graham Rahal, and so that's my big thing. I think if this team wants to take the next step, and maybe this offseason it's laying the groundwork behind the scenes to do that, I think they need to get more aggressive in the driver lineup and maybe have some hard conversations with Graham Rahal. And maybe Graham Rahal can realize it on his own that maybe he needs to step aside or make some room for a better driver. I mean, there's no other way for me to put it, but I don't know. I just still feel like that's the major limitation holding this team back. It's got a veritable who's running this team, right? And now the day-to-day operations and all that stuff. But I still look at that driver lineup and say it doesn't, if I'm a power team in this league, in this series, it doesn't concern me whatsoever.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it feels like either he's going to start producing results again, because before this stretch, I mean, he was a solid not just top 10, but like top 6 or 7 driver. And I know a lot of people point to losing Sato as a teammate really hurt in terms of a full-time campaign, and it's really been a struggle since then.
It has, but you kind of look at it too as he's experienced enough that he should be able to be that dude that shows the way. And I think to a certain extent he can, but Louis Foster is still, he'll be a second-year guy and learning. Mick Schumacher is definitely going to be learning, particularly on the ovals, and I think Graham can help him there. But at the same time, if we're looking at this team to put up some results in 2026 based on what they've done and who they've hired, I have to push back and say I don't know if we can get there, because you'll have 2 drivers still learning and then 1 driver that seemingly with every passing season becomes less and less of a factor on track, at least over the course of the last 4 years, in Graham Rahal.
Elsewhere, the other bit of news regarding Mick Schumacher is that it's not just we should expect an announcement in the coming weeks, but the race saying we could have an announcement in the coming days. So maybe this comes as early as next week. But either way, really big boost for the team. They have the tools to compete. Now it's up to the drivers to deliver, right?
It absolutely is. I mean, you're looking at this, and for so long, the drivers at RLL have had excuses on why they can't compete, right? And you're running out of excuses. Jay Fry is doing a tremendous job in limiting those excuses, and so now this team needs to go out and perform. I think you look at 2026 as maybe or definitely one of the most important years for Graham Rahal in quite some time. Like, if he can't rebound and maybe challenge for a top 10 finish in the standings, what are we doing? I think there's going to have to be some hard conversations had within this team and with Graham Rahal that if Graham wants this team to go where it feels like it's heading, he needs to step aside and let a better driver in that seat.
Elsewhere in Pruitt's short update, not really much change on anything. Prima still looking for some outside investment. Dale Coyne Racing, who now, remember, the timeline is before Thanksgiving. Well, we're running out of time on that, but Connor Daly remains in play. Romain Grosjean remains in play. Linus Lundqvist remains in play. And then Stingray Robb, whose agent, Peter Rossi, continues to insist that he is confirmed for next year. Announcements are coming, but Juncos has yet to really say anything on that.
My thing is the driver and the driver's agent can say all they want. Until I hear it from the team that Stingray Robb is their driver for 2026, I have my doubts.
It is weird that they've been silent for so long on this, right? I think it tells me they're trying to work something behind the scenes.
They have. They're going through that contract with a fine-tooth comb. You can bet it, to see if they can find some sort of language to get them out of that contract without having to pay all of it for 2026.
All right. If you agree or disagree with us, and I'm sure people have some takes on your Graham Rahal takes, no doubt.
Maybe Graham Rahal will have a take on Graham Rahal. We would very much welcome that.
We'd love for you to interact with us. You can always find us on social media, on Twitter/X. The handle is IndyCar Podcast. Same handle on Instagram. On Facebook, just search for New Track Record. You can email us, newtrackrecordpodcast@gmail.com. Support us via Patreon, patreon.com/New Track Record. Thanks to Reed, a new Patreon subscriber. Shout out to you.
Nice.
Get back to me. I'll send you your sticker. And as
Welcome
always,
aboard.
download and listen on your favorite podcasting platform. With that, mailbag time. Mailbag time. Beg. Are you a beg or a bag? I'm a bag. I don't know why I said beg. Mailbag
working
time.
On your accents.
Yes. Let's see. Several things to dive into this week. And the first one, which brought a spirited discussion between listeners on the interwebs. This from Lynn_IndyCar. Guys, your comment about Ryan, as in Ryan Hunter-Reay, the best available driver to win the 500, is laughable because I would choose Connor Daly over Ryan any day of the week and twice on the day of the 500. Okay, I would disagree because we're talking about a former race winner and series champion. Yes, Connor Daly has put together, 3 straight top 10s in the Indy 500 and led laps, I believe, in all 3 of those races. He's been competitive, but it's another thing to actually win the race, right? And you're always going to want to take a former winner than someone who's had promise but hasn't won the thing just yet.
I mean, he doesn't even have a top 5 finish at the 500.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? Like, he's had several races where it's looked really good, but you got to close the final 20 laps.
I mean, that's the thing. Close even a top finish. I mean, his best finish is 6th in 2022. So, yeah, is he fast at Indy? Yes. Does he know what he's doing at Indy? Yes. Am I taking him over Ryan Hunter-Reay? No. And I would challenge Lynn to prove to me and prove to us what in his finishes at the Indianapolis 500 make you think that he is a better choice than Ryan Hunter-Reay. I don't care where he started. I don't care what he's done. In his finishes, what has he done to make you want to pick him over RHR?
And I know it's a what have you done for me lately, but remember, Ryan Hunter-Reay was leading and in position to have a legit shot to win last year until that final pit stop. So, I mean, to be in that situation with a team like Ryan Reinbold is very impressive. And I think, yes, and Connor Daly's raced well with Ryan Reinbold, for example, in the past few years of the 500. But it's another thing to be in contention going into the final pit stop than to be leading or contending in the top 5 halfway or even 3/4 of the way through the race.
And isn't that kind of a microcosm of Connor Daly's career in general? Like, you got to close. Like, he's been on pole, right, for a race. Like, he's been in the conversation many a times, not just at Indy, but you got to close. And that's my thing. 131 races, 2 podiums. You got to close. And I'm taking Ryan Hunter-Reay in terms of being able to close out not just race wins, but race finishes. Every day of the week. I don't even care what their age is. That's my thing. I think Connor Daly is a great talent, but I think he lacks the ability to close. And I think the stats and finishes bear that out.
I'll take RHR twice on race day as well, just to follow up on what Lynn had to say. This from PRI_podcast. Great episode as always, talking about last week. Thank you for keeping IndyCar talk going during the off season. Hey, we try our best. There's always just enough to talk about to make it, I guess, borderline interesting. This from Lynn, talking Prema. He said, do you guys think one and done? I'm going to go with no. I think there's been a lot of talk about if they're actually going to leave. but I don't see it happening. Do you?
Well, I know that I'm getting more and more concerned with no definitive answer or no definitive commitment to 2026. But we really don't have any details on what they're looking for. Like they need capital, right? They need funding. But how much? I mean, do they need somebody that brings in $5 million, $10 million, $20 million, $25 million? I mean, like, how much are they looking for? Because I think that would help us understand how close or how far away Prema is to competing in the series in 2026. We know they need money. How much money is the question. But it's a good sign they still have their staff in place, right? Sounds like they're still working towards being in the series in 2026 in terms of cars and stuff. But, you know, as we get into the new year, when we have some tests here or there, if they're not showing up to these tests, then you really have to start questioning things.
For sure. I guess because the staff is still there, they've insisted no changes, and I get it. They're scrambling to piece everything together, but I think they'll find a way to make this happen. And then final thing from Tommy the Treat 01, popcorn emoji, and it's a screenshot of Mick Schumacher's post talking about leaving Alpine, and the post liked by Graham Rahal, and also Alex Palou commented with the eyes looking emoji, you know, like, oh, like what's going on? So I think, I think something is going on. I think you're onto something there. So that's a look at a brief but interesting mailbag for this week. We dive into news and notes, and just talked about Alex Palou. Let's talk about him again because he got his face unveiled on the Borg Warner Trophy. He is now, I believe, the 112th face on the trophy after winning the 109th running the Indianapolis 500.
All right, let's judge the face.
I feel like it's impossible because the clay model looks like exactly like them, and then you put it in sterling silver, and I just think it's really difficult. Part of it's like the shadows.
Tough. You don't get the nuance, right?
Mm-hmm. But I will say, like, Elio's face on there looks very accurate, for example.
Yes. I think Tony Kanaan's is, not just the nose, too, but I think it's really good.
Yeah.
Alex Palou's is,
It's solid, but it's not...
But, like, you know, so I'm not hating on Will Behrens?
Well, he does the clay model, which I always feel like is spot on. It's always incredible when you look at it. But
it's like you said, very difficult to go from clay to sterling silver.
Yes.
I think it's an acceptable sculpt, or at least a rendering of his face on the trophy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the best, but I don't think it's the worst either.
So Alex
somewhere in the middle
gets it done. We'll have more on Alex Palou in Tweets of the Week. Return to that segment because he had something funny he posted the other day. Countdown.
I also think too with Alex Palou, like there's no real defining features of his face. You know, like Tony Kanaan, you know, he's got the nose, and you mentioned, Elio's got a look, especially with his hair, right? Like, there's nothing like stands out. I mean, you can't get like the mole above his eye, which is kind of like Alex Palou's main unique feature. You can't get that obviously on the sculpt. So I don't know. He has a very unassuming face. I don't think there's nothing wrong with
that. We have several announcements. First, Grand Prix of Arlington will be the Java House Grand Prix of Arlington, multi-year sponsorship agreement to be the title sponsor. Always good to see more title sponsors, and obviously a highly coveted new event based on where it is and being in an urban area. They also were the title sponsor for the Grand Prix of Monterey last year as well.
Do we know, are they returning to Monterey next year as well? We're not sure.
I am not sure.
I'm not either, but
it is not clear if they're. You know,
it's good to have Java House. They've really much jumped into to the deep end in terms of IndyCar, both with of course team sponsorship and now series sponsorship. So it's cool to see. And
specifically the Java House Cold Brew Coffee is the specific title sponsor for that event. Several other announcements.
Have you had any Java House?
Oh yeah.
Yet?
Yes. There's actually one. in Carmel and Clay Terrace, and I've been there several times when I've been visiting my parents down in the Indy area. So it's good. I actually had Christian Rasmussen's drink, really? Rossi had a drink, and I believe Ed and Rasmussen each had signature type drinks. And I had Rasmussen's. It was really good.
So it's on the menu. Give me the
Yes.
Rasmussen.
I don't know if they have it going on right now, but they definitely did.
Right. But they did
around the 500. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was good. I couldn't tell you what it was, but it was good. I think it was a mocha, mocha frappe type thing or something. It was good. Other announcements. You're going to be excited for this because today, Friday, November 21st, 2025, is 100 days to the green flag for St. Pete. And IndyCar put the message out. They're getting the word out. 100 days to the start of the season. And with that, 3-day tickets are also on sale as of today for St. Pete and the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. GPST Pete, as in the name Pete.com, is where you can get your 3-day tickets. Barber tickets already on sale as well.
I thought we only counted down to the Indy 500 in these parts, so that's great to see.
Right? This is a positive step in the right direction. Hopefully they listened to us and have made that change. Maybe that's where that's coming from.
Yeah, continue that throughout the off season. Give us 75 days, give us 50 days, keep the countdown going. I'm
sure they will. I think they have found a way to look. If you can get traction on social media for that stuff, and you can, obviously, why not keep doing it? So that's another fun update for us. We continue on in news and notes, and two things involving the IMS Museum. First off, their Now Stay Tuned exhibit, which is featuring the broadcasters of the Indy 500, opens tomorrow as we record this on November 21st to the public. Members already have their access, and a lot of pictures on social media, past and present broadcasters there to see this exhibit, including one Paul Page. Always good to see him.
Nice.
And another thing involving the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum, and this is exciting, as they have won an international award, Museum of the Year award from the International Historic Motoring Awards, following the renovation.
Ooh.
Have you checked out the museum yet?
I have not yet been in the museum since the renovation. How about you?
I have. I went in May, and it's very cool. Highly recommend it. There's a great section with a lot of hands-on activities, including racing sims for kids as well. So it's not just displays of cars filling up in a room like it used to be. There's a lot more interactive things for you to check out. So highly recommend.
Need to get there.
For sure. Penske announced some changes, and really not a surprise, but they've announced, remember Jonathan Duguid is Tim Cindric's successor for Penske.
Yeah.
And then now they've announced new roles for race engineer David Faustino and race engineer Ben Bretzman. Faustino was elevated to technical director, will oversee IndyCar R&D. And then Ben Bretzman is promotion to engineering manager of competition. He'll serve as the leader across all the team's race engineers, performance engineers, and traveling competition group. That all per Marshall Pruitt. So Bretzman will step away from engineering Scott McLaughlin. Faustino will step away from engineering the number 12, which will be a new driver, obviously, and David Malukas. So some changes there, but obviously well-deserved promotions.
Very much so. Better than the changes we saw within Team Penske during the season last year.
Absolutely. Sticking along with some other news, Marcus and Hampus Ericsson, the brothers, will make their joint GT3 debuts for the Michelin 12 Hours of Sepang coming up in December. So the brothers will unite. Jack Harvey, did you see this? He was spotted at the Texans-Titans game and was featured on the Fox broadcast, obviously, because he works for Fox as the pit reporter, but I thought that was funny, and he's just sitting there staring at his phone. And he got featured.
It just looked like he was by himself. I don't even know if he just was by himself or what, but it was interesting. Good to see that Jack's staying busy in the off season.
Santino Ferrucci, did you see this? He was racing, and flipped due to a piece of debris on track with Abacus Racing at Placerville. This would have been, let's see, what series? Racing on dirt. So it's a dirt track. And made the A main, lap 70, said he hit a piece of debris on track. They flipped, ended their night, but pretty wild video, and he posted a picture as well of the aftermath. And I think he's done that before, right? Didn't he do that at the Chili Bowl?
I think so.
So this is not his first flip in a dirt car. He's experienced. He's a veteran.
No, and probably won't be his last as long as he continues competing in dirt.
Probably not.
So.
And this from Max Verstappen. I thought this was fascinating. His list of changes he would make to F1. Less races, not so many street circuits, a straightforward calendar, 2-day race weekends, no sprints, 1 practice, 1 qualifying, and 1 race. Well, Max, you're welcome to join us in IndyCar if you so desire, because that's basically what you just described.
Yeah, just keep okay, we got that, we got this, we got that. Okay, come on over. But I don't see that happening. We got Schumacher. I don't think we're getting Verstappen.
No, I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately, because that would be obviously incredible. Also,
that
an update.
Would be, like, for those that don't remember it, I mean, that would be the equivalent of Nigel Mansell coming over when he came over.
Oh, absolutely. This would be just as big or perhaps bigger because F1 is so big, whereas, back in the 90s, kart rivaled F1 on not just – in America, kart was obviously dominant, but on a global scale, kart rivaled F1 at that time. Yeah. And that was
so I think it would be an even bigger story, but
yes.
that it's comparable for those that didn't go through it or don't remember it. That was what that was. It was like Max Verstappen deciding he was stepping away from Formula One and going to race in kart. It would be Verstappen coming over and racing in IndyCar.
For sure. And then finally, this note: the 2311 Front Row versus NASCAR trial is scheduled to begin on December 1st. No indication of any settlement at this time per Jeff Gluck, who covers NASCAR. Don't we just love more court cases?
We do. That is one way I don't like to fill the off season of racing.
Yes.
Is court cases.
All right. Anything that we missed?
I don't think so. It's a pretty lean week, but we made it through another show, and maybe we'll have Mick Schumacher to talk about the next time we record, which I imagine will be 2 weeks from now.
Yes, indeed. Oh, actually, I forgot one other thing. Rintaro Sato finished third in the Macau Grand Prix final race, and I believe that Sebastian Weldon, was fourth in the final race.
Was that the race he started on pole, right?
I think that was a different race. That was earlier.
Okay.
But either way, very cool to see that continue. Tweets of the week, and we have a tweet, and it's from Alex Below. My wife has decided that today is a good day to cut my hair with absolutely zero experience. Wish me luck. Now, he did post the results, and I think it's fine. I think it's pretty good.
Really?
He
so it was just
posted a picture of him, getting dusted off, but it's pretty funny. He said it was a success. My hair survived. Thank you for your support. But we're debating giving our son our own haircuts. I mean, he's just over 1, and it's like right now we have it for free with our stylist, but that's like a short-term thing, and he did terrible last time. And you told me the other day you were taking your son to get a haircut, and is he 3 now? Or is he?
Yeah, he just turned 3 a couple days ago.
Yeah.
And we've actually had to take him to a sensory haircut place in Northeast Indiana that deals with kids on the spectrum and stuff, because he absolutely hates his hair touched or the clippers or anything. So it's a big process to try to get him to come around, and we've been there 3 times. Still haven't got his hair cut. I don't care. The wife is at wit's end because she thinks he looks like a bum with his hair all long. So, but yeah, it's a process. She's thinking about buying some clippers and trying to do it at home. I don't know, but it's a struggle from you to me to apparently Alex Below in trusting someone to cut their hair.
Yeah, indeed. With that, it's time for our random split air driver of the week.
All right, so we're going to the IRL series, and we're going into the mid-2000s. And I know you've heard of this guy, Mr. Tomas Enga.
Yes, Rockstar Energy.
Rockstar. So he raced in portions of 3 seasons in the IndyCar series, the IRL, in 2004 to 2006. He raced the final 2 races of the 2004 season with Patrick Racing, and then did the majority of the 2005 season with Panther Racing. That included a start in the 2005 Indianapolis 500, where he finished. Where did he finish? Let's see. I just had
19th.
He finished 19th. Yes. He actually had a top 5 at Sonoma that year, which is his top finish. Then came back the year later and was at Motegi for 1 race with Chiva Racing. But and that was it for Tomas Enga over in the IRL. But he's got plenty of experience. He had 3 starts for Prost back in 2001 in Formula One. I thought this was interesting too. His first, he started his career at the age of 16 when he entered a Ford Fiesta he bought with his own money in the Czechoslovakian Ford Fiesta Cup, which sounds like the most insane racing series. Could you imagine just a bunch of Ford Fiestas racing? Oh my gosh, the intensity, the excitement. But that's how he started it in his native Czechoslovakia. He's the first and to date only driver from the Czech Republic ever to compete in Formula One. He was brought in by the cash-strapped Prost team as a replacement for Luciano Berti, who was recovering from his crash at the previous race in Belgium. He left Prost after they folded. I don't even think they started the 2002 season. He was heavily sponsored by his local Coca-Cola subsidiary that sponsored him F3000 and also brought some good money to him for Formula One. He was stripped of his 2002 title in F3000 due to a positive marijuana test in 2002. Then he came over to the United States 2004, 2005, 2006. He then went to Team Czech Republic for the A1 GP season, which is an open wheel series in, I think in Europe, I believe. And it had like Lola and Ferrari chassis that they raced. Engines were supplied by Zytec and Ferrari. And you just represented your country, I guess, in this.
Yes.
So you had like Team France, Team Germany, Team Czechoslovakia, Team Switzerland, and that's kind of how you raced. It's kind of cool, actually.
And what's fascinating, so he competed in 18500. He also did the United States Grand Prix in 01 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And then I'm looking at his F1 teammates. Jean Alesi, obviously, ran the Indy 500 with Lotus, at least tried.
Yes.
Heinz-Harald Frentzen, F1 driver. Gaston Mezzecane. And then you mentioned Luciano Berti. So I've heard of 3 of his 4 F1 teammates in his lone F1 season where he competed in 3 Grands Prix.
Very impressive. And this is interesting, too. In 2012, he was racing in the Young Driver AMR series, which looks like it was the FIA GT1 World Championship. So let's see, they were racing like Grand Tour cars. It's like old cars, I believe. Kind of like what you would picture a race in like a James Bond movie. Mm-hmm. Would it be? You're like racing like Rolls Royces and stuff. Anyway, it was announced that he tested positive for a banned substance at the Navarra round of the championship, was suspended from racing. At the beginning of August in 2012, it was announced that Enga was to be suspended from racing for 18 months. He appealed the decisions on the ground that the positive test was caused by medication he is taking for a chronic cardiovascular condition. His appeal in 2013 was rejected, so he couldn't race the Rolls Royces and Maseratis and stuff anymore. But in terms of back in the States, 2004 to 2006, he made, let's see, barely 20 starts, it looks like, in his IRL career and top finish against Sonoma in 2005. Mr. Tomas Inga, this week's Random Split Era Driver of the Week.
And I feel like he was in IndyCar for like 3 full seasons, and he didn't even run one full complete season. But he and Scheckter were exciting in 2005 with Panther Racing.
Very much so. And I kept skipping him because I was under the same impression, right? Because I wouldn't even click on his details. Because like, okay, Inga's here for a while. And then I did. And I'm like, well, he wasn't around as long as I thought he was. And yeah, you mentioned if it wasn't Inga, it was Scheckter. And sometimes it was both of them, from Indy to Texas to Richmond to Kentucky. I mean, they were both heavily factored, even if they weren't at the front end of the standings and the race pylon. So yeah, he did not have a lot of experience, but he made the most of his experience in terms of turning heads in the IRL in portions of 3 different seasons.
Interesting enough, so Scheckter won Texas that year, where he led the most laps, had the pole position, but Tomas Inga actually had the fastest lap of the race.
How about that? That was
team sweep.
Panther Racing just does not get enough credit. When you talk about Sam Hornish Jr., right, for good reason.
Yes.
Winning championships for Panther, but back in the early to mid 2000s, I mean, that was a team to be freaking reckoned with.
Well, and think about their run at Indy where they had 3 straight second place finishes. I mean, you had Vitor Mira in 2008, Dan Weldon in 2009 and 2010, right? And then, of course, J.R. Hildebrand, I guess so it would have been 4 straight, right, in terms of second place finishes.
Yeah, you went Mira, Weldon, Hildebrand, right?
Yes.
And maybe one of the less recognized what could have been, not just for J.R. Hildebrand in 2011, obviously, but for Panther Racing, because that resulted in their 4th consecutive second-place finish in the Indianapolis 500.
Which is wild, because they were
insane.
Very competitive between multiple drivers, and it never came together. In fact, they were 14th in 2012, and that was the best they did after that. So, they fell off, and the team shut down after 2013, and that was that. Yeah,
so close, and we've seen other teams propelled forward. You look at Mike Shank winning the Indianapolis 500 with Elio. I mean, it can change the trajectory of an entire team, and if Panther could have picked up even one of those 4 runner-up finishes, who knows? It could still be around.
For sure. All right, that does it for us. Obviously, we're taking next week off with the Thanksgiving holiday here in the U.S. We'll be back first week of December. That's crazy to say. For just a few more times before we wrap up for the end of the year. For Justin Kinney, thanks to Michael Good of PRI for joining us, talking about the PRI Show coming up in just a few weeks. I am Caleb Hatch. This has been another edition of New Track Record Podcast. And before we go, a quick shout out to WNHE and WELT for helping us record this episode.